Now you are.
Hey everybody, welcome to Muni Misfits. My name is Chris Larson, head golf professional at Osgood. I'm with Matt Cook, head golf professional at Rose Creek, and Greg McCullough, head golf professional at Edgewood, together with the Misfits. It is Friday morning, and we're talking about golf. We got a big week. We got U.S. Women's Open. We got stuff happening at our facilities. We got to talk about Tori and her updates with all of her great league play that's happening right now. Let's first off, guys, let's talk about, did everyone survive the 4th of July? How was your 4th?
I've got all my 10 fingers.
10 fingers, 10 toes?
My 4th was kind of uneventful. I honestly, we were busy after the showers. We had some rain coming through on the 4th, kind of dampened that first hour or so, and maybe a couple hours. And then people started kind of coming on out, kind of gained some momentum, had a good deal of play as far as late morning, early afternoon. And then I checked out later in the afternoon, headed home, took a nap.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I did. It was very, very good. And then we went down to my parents' lake place that evening, had dinner with some of my family, and I was back in my bed probably by 9:30, sleeping. Did not see any fireworks, did not hear any fireworks.
Really?
So it was about as uneventful as it gets for a 4th of July, and I loved it. I don't know. I used to be that.
Do your kids not where are your kids hanging out 4th of July? They doing anything?
I got 3 adult kids, and then one that's pretty near an adult. And so, yeah, they hung out, they watched the fireworks and they did all that stuff. But
does Holly do anything big out there?
No, they have in the past. They've had some events like that, but it didn't appear that they were doing that this year. I don't know who's done that in the past. I'm sure there's a lot of people around the neighborhood that were shooting them off, but so no, they do my parents are over in Big Cormorant, and that Lake Association does a really nice job there. They put together a really cool fireworks display. And I guess, once you've seen it 50 some years,
it's the thrill though, Matt. It's the thrill.
You know what? When you get to be my age, Chris, sleeping is a thrill.
That does sound very nice. How was your 4th, Mac?
Ours was great.
Yeah,
we again, the showers kind of made it slow in the morning, but we were busy till we cut it off and got everybody out of there, and it slowed down at the end of the day. And it's weird having 4th of July in the middle of the week. You're just not really sure how people are they gonna attack it Friday through Tuesday? Are they gonna attack it Tuesday through the next Monday? But we were busy both at Edgewood and Elzego later in the day, and we appreciate everybody coming out and got to spend some time, had dinner with Murphy's after we were done, and had a great time. Yeah.
Do you guys still do the 4th of July golf? No, didn't you guys normally do that like out at Village or something?
Those, I think they did used to do that. I don't know. I don't believe they did it. I don't believe they did it this year.
Okay.
No, that would be like the only event that Julie Murphy would play in.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I never heard anything about them playing that day, so they must not have done it.
Well, as far as my 4th of July, I can talk to you guys about a little fireworks safety, but I can also, first off, as far as the golf course is concerned, same kind of deal. It was slow in the morning, and then after that, kind of like clockwork, busy midday, and then it just kind of tailed off, and everyone kind of had their own programs, I guess, in the evening. So it was really nice, and then we headed over to my in-laws' house in the Wild West, West Fargo, where fireworks have, it is absolutely game on, right? And we're trying to be super duper safe, and we've got bucket of water, we've got all sorts of stuff out there, and we're making sure we're far enough away from these fireworks, and we're not doing anything big. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my lawn chair just watching the fireworks, hopefully that, just going off all over the place, and one comes up right out of the bucket and comes back right to me. I've got now hot molten lava in my lap right now, and I'll spare you guys the indecency, but I've got shrapnel that probably needs to get pulled out. So be safe, 4th of July. I think this was like one and done. I think now we're probably done doing fireworks for a little bit. So, have you guys ever been maimed by a firework on the 4th?
I don't I don't think I've had any close calls, but it's been quite some time since I've done it. It's been a while since I went out there and, splurged through $40 down to get a bunch of
Oh,
fireworks. And
I
what
swear,
did
I
you
s-
spend?
I'm not going to disclose how much money I spent. So, no, but you look at some of these people in town, how much money are they throwing down
Yeah.
on fireworks? Like, I'm talking, it's thousands of dollars. When you go out in West Fargo, there are like $100 fireworks just going off. Like, people are just burning bills out there. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually purchased fireworks. I know my brothers, they've got young kids, and so they've still done a little bit of that. I don't know if they did this year because, like I said, the display they do in the Cormont area is great. But I think the last time I did it, I think I might have shelled out maybe 150, $200 or something
Yeah.
like that. And honestly, after we shot that all off, it'd have been better back in that day if I just went and bought a box of shells for like $10, took my shotgun, boom, boom, boom. I would have gotten about the same excitement. So
I mean, what's normal? What would you say is normal for spending on fireworks?
No idea. I've never.
When was the last time you bought fireworks, Mac?
Oh my goodness. So at least 15 years ago.
Okay, so you've been out of the game for a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, like when I was growing up, it was sparklers and it was fireworks. That's it.
Black cats, just right,
That is it.
blowing up GI Joes
So
and
we would
stuff.
just blow up. You get all the packages of fireworks together. We just light them and just let them go all at once. It's like, okay, we're done. Have a good time.
Well, glad to see everyone standing after the 4th of July, and we're back. As far as the golf courses, you guys want to recap what we got going on for the upcoming week?
Sure. We have at El Zagle today. We have Fargo Park's district classes are over now. They get to play one day, so they're at El Zagle this morning. Sunday we have Discovered Golf Junior Tour. Sunday at Rose Creek. Monday at Edgewood. And Tuesday we have our Midsummer at Edgewood Men's Club Midsummer. Thursday leagues. Yeah, we're just kind of rolling along.
yeah, for us this week, it's been a little different with the holiday being on Tuesday. So no ladies league this week, but we did do our men's club on Thursday. And then next week we get back in. We've got a corporate event on Monday, get back to our normal league activities once again. It's been great golf weather. I mean, it's been terrific. I like these temperatures more recently for me personally. I like the kind of playing in the 70s or low 80s even. And as a result, yeah, the tee sheets continue to be full and yeah, things are going well.
Osgood, we kind of breathed a sigh of relief this week with 4th. Got back to normal. It was just all regular daily play this week at Osgood. So I think the general public really enjoyed that. And then as far as next week, we roll back into league play. Everything is firing on all cylinders again, back to junior golf, back to league. We also have couples night kicking off on next Friday. That's Jeopardy night. So that'll be a good one. Must answer all your questions and answer in the form of a question. So if you haven't signed up for that, you can go to osgood.golfgenius.com, get signed up for couples night. Yeah. And then, I'd agree with you as far as the temps are concerned. It's really enjoyable to play golf right now. Yeah, you're not slogging through it, and it's a nice walking temperature. I'm just enjoying this little reprieve. Not that anyone's counting, but we only have roughly 15 to, if we play our cards right, 18 more weeks of golf. You guys done that math at all?
127 to Halloween.
So yes, you absolutely.
Not that I
have
know
done
that
it.
at any
Yeah,
given time.
That's really impressive. So, but when you start putting that, when I start feeling the weather like this too, I start thinking like, man, football's going to be on pretty soon. We're not quite there yet, but it does certainly feel like it's on the horizon. Well, let's talk about another cool place right now, like that segue. They're playing in long sleeves. They're the temps are down in the 60s out at Monterey Bay. The women are playing the U.S. Women's Open, and it's the first time ever the women have played at Pebble. And I was talking to you, Mac, off air about how it's about time. The women have played historic places, but I think we need to start looking at getting these ladies playing on not reputable, but recognizable golf courses. Because if there's one thing that the LPGA can really needs, they need some hype, right? And they need some fanfare. And honestly, it starts with these courses and the places they're going to. Now, when you start flipping on the TV and you start seeing these ladies play at Pebble, I'm stopping and I'm watching, like 100%, because I know hole number 7, I know hole number 8, 18. I mean, there's these iconic places on that golf course where you've seen Tom Watson chip in on 17. You've seen Jack Nicklaus hit what did he hit, 2-iron on hole 7, into the wind. So now we get to start to see these ladies take on the test of Pebble Beach. What do you guys think about one, the U.S. Women's Open, and two, how do you like Pebble for the ladies?
Well, I agree with you 100%. We need to get him, can we go to Pinehurst and play number 4, number 2, either one? I think it'd be better to play 4 actually, and Pebble, and there really isn't anything going on right now. I mean, nothing, that's not a shot at baseball, but on a sports,
Hmm.
r- you know, nationwide deal, right? So they're on the West Coast. They're playing a great place that we all know. We know where people hit it and what we're going to see on TV, which is completely beautiful. So let's give them some time here to kind of make their hay.
Hmm.
Um, I do think the bad part about what's going on is nobody knows who's in the lead or nobody knows who's in the top 15. And that's unfortunate. And that's nothing against those women at all. But for this to kind of roll over again, we need somebody to take control over what's going on. And if you look at the leaderboard, I didn't know I didn't know hardly any of them.
I second that. Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
mean, there's just nobody there. I mean, and that's unfair because they're great players. They're gonna play great, but you scroll down to find a name, and I had to go to I had to go to +1, Danielle Kang,
Hmm.
and that was the first one, and she shot 1 over par. That's a good score, but we need somebody to we need a dominant figure in any sport for the sport to kind of take off. But I think that's the only thing lacking in their sport right now.
And I'd say I'd agree with you that there. I'd also say that in any major, like give it some time, let
True.
that leaderboard
Yeah, it
percolate a
is.
little bit.
Yes, there was only 1 day in.
Yeah. But I do agree that there's there's a chance for a lot of ladies to rise to the top. In the LPGA, there really isn't a dominant figure. And the interesting part too with like Rose Zhang now coming on the scene has that might be the star power that you're.
I agree. She needs to play well. That sounds really unintelligent, but we need her to play well. And she shot 2
Absolutely.
over par yesterday, which is okay. And again,
She got to two under
we're
at
only
one.
1 day in,
She
but
got to 2 under at
yeah,
one point, and then she kinda, fizzled coming down the stretch there, but, yeah, as far as, Rose Zhang, that is kind of a bright shining light that we're all hoping, I think, takes off, so
A lot of parity as far as in the LPGA right now. I mean, there's just I think the
tons.
talent now is just so amazing how many really good players there are, and you even see that because wasn't there 2 or maybe even 3 amateurs that were probably top 15, top
Yes.
20 at one point?
Yep.
I didn't see the final leaderboard yesterday as far as when it went off, but, um, I mean, so that's really incredible, and I think, the junior golf now that we have, at the local level, it's been awesome. We've got so much more and more going on. But then at the national level, I mean, with AJGA and Hurricane, and the list goes on and on. A lot of these are multi-day tournaments, preparing these juniors at a much younger age to kind of go through those processes. And then now the college golf scene, just some amazing events there too, and having those, multi-day events. It seems like it's just really kind of preparing a lot of these people at a much earlier age and preparing them for that situation on the tour, even to do it. And so I totally agree. It would be great to see some of that dominant players. But man, right now we've got a lot of really good
yeah. I mean,
golfers.
selfishly, I would like to see an American woman take control.
And you know, I I don't need it to be an American woman. I just need, I guess, I kind of need to know the story a little bit
Sure.
too. You know, that's how you. I think that's how you root for somebody is that when they kind of offer up a little bit of their character, like whether it be in a presser or I think a big step forward definitely was when the LPGA did, you know, their kind of the reality type stuff that they were doing. What was the name of that? Do you remember? Because we talked to Amy about that. But they had it on YouTube. It was actually long before the PGA Tour was doing anything with Full Swing. And
Drive on or something like that.
yeah, Drive On. And that right there made me immediately tune in, you know, to some of those stories at that time to see, okay, let's see what these ladies are doing. So I think we root for the people that we know, and those are the if it's tough to root for that leaderboard at the right now because we have no idea what those stories are. Um, I thought it was really nice that the USGA, the featured group was awesome last night. That and also West Coast. I don't know if you guys like the West Coast deal because we get golf at later time and we actually get to see a little bit of it. But you know, you had Rose Zhang, and then we had Brooke.
Henderson.
Yep, and then also who was it? Danielle Kang.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or Lydia Ko, excuse me, Lydia Ko. So yeah, those three, I mean, I think those are three that are highly recognizable and star power, right? As far as the golf course is concerned, I kind of thought that the golf course, I didn't think the golf courses would play this tough. Did you guys think it would play this tough looking at the scores? I mean, they had pretty fair conditions. You know, it was a little bit cooler, but that's about it. There really wasn't too much wind at all.
I think going back to they haven't played there very much has
Sure.
something to do with that. You know, that it's not like they go there every year and they get things figured out. I think it takes them a little while to figure it out.
They
What's going on?
I mean, Rose Zhang holds the competitive course record at 63, and she shot +2. Um, but with that, I think this is a different animal. I think the USGA has made this significantly different from when they play the US Women's Amateur there. I think the rough is up. I think it's a little bit more pinchy. I think it's tighter fairways. Um, Pebble doesn't always have like the smoothest, most amazing greens, but you know, I think the defense there is how small everything is. So I think it will become a chipping contest for a lot of these ladies. I think there's going to be a huge premium on hitting fairways. So pick someone that hits a driver very straight, which is like all of them, right? And then pick someone that is exceptional at chipping.
So we talked about this with the guys, right? Can we keep the golf course the same now for 4 days?
Right.
Not let it go, right? I don't like it starts soft and gets harder through the week. Let's keep it the same each day. It's totally my opinion, but
I think it will too, just looking at
well,
what the
the weather
weather.
will,
Yep.
they're gonna get the same day today.
Mhm.
And we do have a local plane, Amy Olson,
Yes.
who, hit it great off the tee yesterday the way it sounded. I didn't get to see any of it, and then I guess she wasn't very good with her irons, which is unusual.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing with Amy is that early on when she posted would she post +7?
Yep.
+7. Uh, I looked at that and I'm going, "Man, that's gotta be one of the highest scores that she could have shot."
Yep.
Uh, but then also you look at the bottom of that leaderboard too, the amount of people, just like in any major, but you go, "Ooh, there was a lot of people that shot +6, +7." You know, there was a lot of star power in the bottom of that leaderboard. So hopefully that rises to the top again. Hopefully
Yeah,
they have good
she's
days.
gonna need probably 3 under today.
Yeah, it's out there. Someone
2
shot
2
4.
2 or 3 under. Well, I mean, is it? I mean, has it become harder today? I mean, she plays later today. Is
Yeah.
that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Well, I think that see that the lower scores I would say were in the second wave.
Okay.
So let's hope that
Yeah.
was that's an advantage. So
I thought it was interesting just watching, like, I haven't watched event at Pebble too often in the middle of the summer. Usually that's an early event. And so I was interested to see how the course would compare from then to now. I thought the golf course looked kind of tough, and especially when they haven't played Pebble hardly at all. Someone probably played it very little, if not at all. I think that itself is difficult. So even if you're hitting fairways, man, it just looks like so many of those fairways. And you'd know, Chris, you get some difficult lies even there as far as there's a lot of movement to some of the fairways and stuff like that. So I saw some shots of girls that hit it in the fairway. They were still missing those greens. And I thought you missed the greens there. And that rough was so high. I thought it was brutal to try to pitch and chip, especially where some of the birds, boy, there was some tough situations. It's like I was talking to my daughter. It's like you watched, wasn't Lydia Ko, I don't think. She dumped it in the bunker there. And you know how you're always looking at trying to find a way of how can I make 3 shots into 2? Instead, they're doing the opposite.
Yeah.
They're taking 3 shots and making it 4 or 5, because they're doing the 2 chips or maybe a 3 putt. And I think just the way that setup was and how difficult is around the green, boy, you better hit those greens. And a lot of them, like you said, are small.
Yeah.
So I thought the setup was really interesting. I don't know what the length of it's like compared to what they normally play, if it's kind of right in there, if this is a little bit longer than normal, but I don't know. I thought it was a fairly good setup yesterday. I thought it was kind of tough, and I don't know. I mean, you see how many people are under par by the end of the week.
The part that I kind of geek out over is that now you have ladies playing this iconic golf course, and 1919 is when the first routing took place at Pebble Beach. A lot of stuff has changed. Obviously, hot topics right now are the golf ball, and it's going too far, especially in the men's game, right? But now when we see the ladies play Pebble Beach, I truly think they're playing the golf course more like it's intended to be played. And so I mean, when the men go to Pebble, they're bombing it over. I mean, they're land and sea locked, so they can't move tee boxes. They can't do a whole lot to the golf course anymore, and the scores will show it. At a US Open for the men, they're going to be, what did Gary Woodland shoot, 7 under or something the last time it was at Pebble. Um, the women are going to have a true test. I mean, par is going to be a very good score at Pebble Beach. And I don't think they have to do too much to the golf course to get it to have even be a good score. Does even have to be the score? It doesn't. Par is just all relative, right? But I do think that this golf course sets up very well. Like I do really like seeing the US Women's Open at Pebble Beach just because it's they're having to hit the shots. It's going to be a type of golf course though that it's a big golf course I think for them, but it's also really it's narrow, right? The greens are small, so you have to be just someone's going to have to be really precise to shoot a good score there. If the wind blows, holy buckets. If they get some wind coming off the ocean there, that's going to get really dicey. So, it'll be an interesting Open to watch. I like being able to see where they're hitting it in comparison. Uh, and they're like the final hole 18, that is a brute. And these ladies are hitting it all sorts of different ways. There's different options off of the tee, and do you go for that green in 2? I didn't catch if anyone was actually going for that green in 2. Did you see any of that on 18? I'll be really interested to see, depending on what the wind does and coming down the stretch, if anyone tries to really press it on 18.
Yeah, I think they had it listed at 550, so
Oh my
I would
gosh.
imagine not. Now, I don't know if they necessarily 545 or something like that, so I can't really see. I mean, again, they're at sea level. The ball's not going very far, and then they're that far, so
So they've got them all the way
well,
back
I
then.
think I mean, the scorecard yesterday, that's what it said. I don't know if that's where they played. So, they'll hopefully they kind of play it maybe one of those days or maybe the last day they move it up a little bit to bring some things into play. I don't know if the USGA will do that, but we'll see. Mike Wan's pretty smart though.
Very. I think he's doing it. I personally think he's doing a really good job.
Everywhere he's been, he's done a really, really, really good job, in my opinion.
Do you still like LACC?
I'm not a fan of LACC. Again, right? Go back to my original statement. I don't like it. It played like a softer golf course on Thursday, and then it played totally different on Sunday. I just don't. I personally don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's gonna be hard, let's make it hard and let's keep it the same. It's again 2023, right?
Right.
We should be able to maintenance practice it the same for 4 days, and I think the players would enjoy that.
So here's my odd take on scoring with the Open or any major for that instance. Um, we get so hung up on par, like just the what is par, right? And the USJ for a long time, we got to protect par. At least that's what was said, right? We
Yes.
we got to protect par, and even as a good scorer. Um, what if we didn't have par? What if we were obviously from a viewer standpoint, that would be kind of tough, right? Where we're looking at totals and we're just
Right.
saying that person's at 66 shots right now. But it kind of like it might flip it on its ear a little bit by just saying like, no, there is no par. It's just as low as you can go. That's the best score.
It's easier for the consumer to watch
Absolutely.
it though and understand it when we have something to base it on versus strokes.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. We could, it would be really weird today to see Amy Olsen standing on 15 at 145.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be different.
Let's just move par to 54 and set it up accordingly.
Right. I mean,
Everyone's a
everyone,
par 3.
as soon as a US Open, as soon as people see like big red numbers at a US Open and it's like -8, -9, like we're seeing at LACC, people are going, "Oh my God, what the heck? Why are we at this? Why are we at this golf course? Too easy. These guys are going to shred this place." You know. But anyways, that's just my little rant on score. I don't think it needs to be. I don't think we need to protect par. I think we just need to be able to identify the best golfer.
So will we identify the best golfer at Pebble Sunday afternoon?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't know. I think they will. It's going to be just such an exacting test, I think, for these women. It forces them down certain corridors, and the lines are so particular at Pebble because after watching them play one round, they're forced to hit certain shots. Whereas like other golf courses, they may not be forced to hit some of these shots. There's not the forced carries. There's not like when you just look at like number 7, they have to hit a certain line in order to be able to put their ball in a position to be able to get at a pin. The fairways aren't wide enough for them to kind of change those lines. They're forced to hit certain shots. And then with the greens being so small, they're going to have to chip very, very well because you're not going to be able to hit 18 greens. If you do, that's absolutely amazing. So it's a different game from what the men are playing. And I do think that we're going to identify the best golfer. Is it the best golf course for a major championship? I personally don't think it is, but I do think it provides a lot of drama and interest to bring these women to the most iconic golf course or one of the most iconic golf courses in the world.
There's a couple other cool stories outside of just Amy as well. It was kind of fun to see Michelle Wheat back
Yes.
playing once again. So this, I think, is her last professional
This
event.
is the swan song for Michelle.
Yeah. And then also with Annika Sorensen, also, I think, getting a sponsor exemption, I'm
Mhm.
guessing that is. Or maybe she was exempt from previous Opens. I don't remember how that one worked.
I
but
think it's kind of like the Tiger rule. Like they'll like
If Annika wants to play,
They'll
Annika can
get her
play,
in.
which,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is great.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those two didn't play as well. I didn't expect them to play great either, but I mean, I was hoping someone would kind of come out and put something together. But
Okay.
I think what Michelle we also shot 79 and Annika might have shot 80 or something like that.
So you guys maybe have heard this stat. This blew my mind. Lexi Thompson. How old is she?
She's only like 20. No,
Yep, 28.
I was going to say
28 years old. How many US Opens now has she played in, including this one?
15,
You're so close.
she's 28 now,
14 then,
probably 13 or 14,
16.
15, 17.
17.
So as a 12-year-old,
She is the youngest to ever play in a US Women's Open at 12, and she has made it to the US Women's Open ever since.
and you would just that stat would lead you to believe she would be a dominant player. Not
Right.
that she hasn't been at times, but she hasn't been.
No, she just needs to putt. And that's that. I think that honestly, I think that's what's stopping her from winning a major is the fact that she just needs to be able to putt. And it was kind of on full display yesterday. She was hitting it in spots that she certainly could have managed. Oh man, she let a few go yesterday, and but yeah, as far as Lexi Thompson, man, she could be an absolute force if she got the flat stick down.
I think was there I kind of caught little bits and pieces, but was there like an 8th grader I thought I heard playing?
There's somebody, I
I think
believe
might
that
be
that's
like 13
correct.
years
Yes.
old, maybe. So I don't remember her name or how she played, but that's just once again crazy. Is that obviously you had to go through the qualifying process and they come out of there as an 8th grader.
Well, when you start looking at even Michelle Wee, the stuff that I mean, we all lived through that, but when they started actually rifling, because they're now this is Michelle's basically her last event that she's going to play in. I think she's what 34 years old. Um, but when you start looking at the accolades and the things that she's accomplished in her career, that is mind blowing. Like made the cut at the Sony when she was 14 years old, the men's Sony Open. Like she was actually beating major winners that missed the cut. Um, she qualified for the US Am on the men's side and actually made it into match play. And that was at the age of like I'm gonna get this wrong here, but she was like she was like 13 or 14. I mean, the things that she was doing at
So
a
did that help her or hurt her?
see that's going to be the question. I
I mean,
think
all the stuff that you just said, she should have been dominant.
she's won one major.
She's
She's won
just not
one US Open and
not been
that's it.
dominant at all.
No, and I think that the big thing there with her is that she got plagued with, injury for so long. She had wrist injury for a long time that she couldn't get over and she kept re-injuring and stuff. So things could have definitely been different with her if there was no injury. But yeah, you look at that career and then that's the question is did she get pushed into something that she maybe wasn't I think she was ready for, but you would have loved to see her sitting back with like be the dominant force as the US player and be that person that then had 15 majors, 12 majors, whatever it is. And then you look back on that. I personally, I think anything less than double digit majors on Michelle's career um, is kind of a letdown. Anything less than that was a letdown. She's still just amazing to have in the sport and created such a buzz for both men, everybody.
Broke down barriers.
Huge. So, I mean, she's still that iconic figure, but it is a bummer when you look at the accolades that she didn't rack up more
So
wins.
did she ever learn how to shoot a low score?
That's a great question.
In my opinion, no. She was playing again because of her physical ability and how good she was playing above the level that would lead you to believe that I mean, she could shoot even par at those venues, and maybe that's why she did it, because she couldn't shoot a low score anywhere. But I mean, you have to at some point, if you're a child or a parent, you have to be able to learn to shoot a low score. It doesn't matter where it is. I mean, you have to get to that level. I mean, some people can shoot low scores, and it's hard if you can't. Are you playing? I mean, if you went to a shorter golf course and played somewhere that's, let's say it's a 500 to 700 yards shorter than your normal place, wherever you're going to tee it up from, can you shoot 8 under par? Should you stay at that length until you can shoot 8 under par? I mean,
So,
there's college golf coaches right now on the men's side that are actually taking their team to play not 7,800-yard courses. They're playing 5,700-yard courses, and they can't leave there until they shoot 62 or lower. They just can't. And if you don't, you don't make the team.
Yeah, that's a good point. You look at like even how junior golf is right now. And of course, a lot of parents, and I'm sure some players, are looking already forward at a very, very early age of what their future may hold, whether it's collegiate golf or beyond. And of course, then the way that works, they almost kind of, the way the process works is you're forced to sometimes play in events that have very good talent. So they're playing probably above the level they should be. So for, like, let's say a 12 or 13-year-old, they're trying to play an event that maybe has 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, because that's where the rankings are going to be in your favor. I mean, you can go and play poorly at a really, really good event and
Right.
probably get more points than if you were playing at a lesser event. But to your point, I think you're spot on. Is I think parents, even if they're doing their schedule, I think it's giving that child that opportunity to play within their age group as well.
And
Go
be
out there,
successful at it.
exactly, be successful of it, have some fun, get some rewards for doing that, and don't look at that as being like a bad thing. And then if you want to have some of that mixture to try to, you know, get them to continue to try to compete, try to lift the level a little bit and play with that, I think that's fine. But yeah, to be able to play within your own age group, because we do get that. I think a lot of people are saying, "Hey, my son or daughter is, pretty decent. I'd like to try to get them into that next level." And I'm like, well, I think it's great. They're thinking maybe, but don't just stay at that level. Try to go back and try to compete where you can have some really good success as well.
I mean, the game is bombing it. I mean,
Right.
both tours, all tours, you got to hit it far, right? So you got to teach the kids to hit it far at a young age, but you also have to teach kids how to shoot a score at a
Yeah.
young age. We just don't. Back to the conversation we had a month ago about, are you playing or are you practicing? Are you shooting golf or are you just practicing? Score doesn't matter on the driving range.
Nope.
You see 1,000 million kids who can hit the ball unbelievably on the driving range, and you go look at their score and they shoot 78 to 80. Like, wait a minute. They're just not, they just don't have that. So anyway, play shorter at times, right? Because you're right, because we're trying to stretch it out because that's the system. Hit it far, but if you go play a shorter golf course, you know what? Let's try to shoot a low score
Mhm.
or learn to shoot a low score. How do you, right? We're playing from a forward tee box. We're playing from a Wheelings tee box. We're playing from a Prairie Wood Short Junior tee box. What do you shoot? Right? Let's go shoot 25. Let's go shoot 28. Let's go shoot 58 or 60.
I agree, and there's something about the psychology of being able to go lower,
I agree.
right? I will be the first to tell you that I get nervy when I start getting into like some kind of scary numbers. When you start getting to 3 and 4, I start getting really, I guard it, right? It's been a while since I've been to 3 or 4, but you start guarding it. And I heard a really good analogy about really good amateur golfers were snorkelers. Okay. PGA Tour players, they're scuba divers. Okay. So, snorkeler, we go down, then we come back up, right? We come up for air, but we're always kind of just hovering only at like the breath that you have. We only dive down so low. And then the scuba divers, they got a tank where they're going to be down there forever, and they're trying to go lower and lower and lower. Right. And you do have to have, that's a different switch, right? It's a different thing that you have to be okay with going super low. If you're at 4, how do you get to 5? How do you get to 6? And that's something that I don't know if necessarily gets gets enough praise or taught enough. Certainly, I don't know if there is a way to teach it. How would you go about, maybe it is just playing shorter courses and saying, you get to this number, right? Get as low as you possibly can.
Yeah, there has to be. I mean, we talk about this a lot. There has to be games, and you have, and again, well, let's go back to, we got to go play, and we got to shoot a score. And at what level? I mean, there's lots of educational things out there now. At what level? Where do you have to play from to shoot par? Okay, as you become a better player or an older player or an expert player, we do push them back because it is a length game. You got to be able to hit it far. But if you never in your life, and I'll right, I've never consistently shot in the 60s. I could shoot 70 to 72 almost anywhere,
Hmm.
really, but I could never get it. I could never get it a lot lower than that. And then you see the successful people in our sport, local people in our sport. Bill Israelson, right? 60 was not a was a number he could get to any day at any time. Any right? And Bemidji, maybe lower than that. Tom Hoagie, right? When Tom gets it going on, he can shoot 62 or 63. If you don't have that ability, the game becomes harder at that level or even at a college level. If you because you can't continually shoot 69 every day. It's hard. But you can shoot 62-70 or 62-72 and you're still in play.
Hmm.
So I think our kids need to somehow we need to figure that out. Where do I have to go? I mean, when we went and played the Sand Greens, right? I mean, there's all the holes, 250-yard par fours, 300-yard par fours, 450-yard par fives, right? You should be able to shoot a low score there.
Yeah.
And we need to teach our kids to do that. When you see some of the better players you know, young Mr. Rubus posts a lot of scores online, right? He's under par, 4 or 5 under par all the time. So we're starting. I mean, they've got it set up at a level where those kids can shoot those scores. And if you've never shot under par and you're 14 years old, it becomes really hard.
Agreed.
I think it becomes really hard because you just like you said, right? Oh my God, I'm 1 under par. Well, I'm protecting now. I'm not trying to get to 2. So I think it's a little bit of a learned. You have to have the ability, no doubt, but you also have to do it a few times. And if you don't ever do it till you're 16, it becomes really hard because you just haven't done it.
This could kind of fall right in with, we've talked a lot about youth, but this could kind of fall right in with our recreational adult players as well.
Oh, for sure.
You know, people just don't pay enough attention, I don't think, as far as the distances they're playing from. We get so tee orientated. And I think people have got this stigma that they have to play from a certain either set of tees or from the tee period. Versus if you're a newer player, I feel bad for some of those that say, "Yeah, I don't want to go to Edgewood. I don't want to go to Rose Creek because I'm not that good." Well, what if you just played from 200 yards on in? You get that opportunity to explore and see what Edgewood's all about and the beauty. You could still play from a shorter distance and have your fun and not get beat up in doing so. But I think it's difficult for some people to overcome that stigma, and also for parents out there. You know, I've heard some, like, we've had the youth tees out in Prairie Wood, and even there, some people have put them back like, well, they're going to play from the Reds, and they should probably play from a much shorter distance than that. I think there's like this stigma once again. They shouldn't be able to do that, but that's where I love that. You know, Chris is very familiar with the Op 36, but anybody that's not, I mean, it's kind of basically getting that player playing from a very, very short distance, being successful at that, and then gradually continue to move back. So you see that success. And what a great approach. And if people, like, from a recreation standpoint that maybe are newer to the game, or wherever they're at, you know, maybe if they kind of experience that a little bit, like, why don't you try from a shorter set of tees, see how that goes. And then eventually, if that goes very well for you, you start to kind of graduate moving back once again. But yeah, I think having that success and then just enjoyment, I think, of making, whether that's making a double bogey or making a bogey or making what we say par, I think is, you know, a great, exercise and a
I think
great
we're
feeling.
definitely making strides in the right direction with that way because it's becoming less because we're seeing I see really good players that are your age, Chris, that you play golf with, right? What are they doing? They're not going back. They're going forward. And
Absolutely.
actually one day they played the Reds, right? So I mean, they're again, the teachability and how you play the game to get better at it and even enjoy it a little bit more. You know, we went 40 years where the golf courses needed to be impossible, which really ruined, in my opinion, ruined a lot of what we had going on. And obviously that's developments and things like that. But the golf courses were, I'm going to build a harder one. I'm going to
Hmm.
build a harder one. I'm going to build a harder one. Now we're starting to see some renovations and some new courses being built that, guess what? They're not like that. You can make them harder if you want to, but there's always that ability to make them easier to for whoever. And again, I think players are starting to get a little better idea of, let's make this game fun and how can I shoot a score? If you play 18 holes and you shoot 72, who cares?
Yeah.
I shot 72. I don't care where it was from. Or I went to El Zagel, the par 3, I shot 29, 28, 27. that's awesome, right? You got to have that. It's not always about double bogey, triple bogey, pick it up, circle 10, whatever it might be.
Agreed. So, talking about making golf more enjoyable, we also have to talk about Tori's journey in this whole thing. Tori, we're gonna talk to you about your journey to be a better golfer this year and enjoy golf. Where are we at right now, Tori?
So do we have a crickets button?
Is your mic on?
I think so. Can you
Oh.
hear me?
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to ask.
Well, I asked, so now you have to answer. What is happening in Tori's golf game?
Nothing.
Come on. Okay, so we're gonna have to start some. I mean, I would have thought this podcast would be like the accountability deal, right? Where it would force her to have to practice and play in this league. What do we have to do to get you to play golf now? What's the deal?
We have to monetize it. I have to make money.
Okay, so maybe
I'm a true millennial. I can't have a hobby unless it's monetized.
sure. Okay. So what do you think you would need then? I mean, what are your terms to be able to play golf? What is it gonna take? You have practiced.
Well,
Eh,
I think I need to be better because it's not that fun because I'm not very good at it.
Whoa.
No, that I mean, you don't do a lot of things in our lives that you aren't good at or don't like, right? You don't have fun at it. So golf becomes harder. You
Yep.
don't really want to do it when people are playing well. We see them all the time. When all of a sudden it's going backwards, well, we don't see them at all.
But with Tori, she hasn't even started yet. Like we have to talk about what is it going to take for your team to get on the course? What's going to happen?
We'll try for next week.
Okay, I like it.
So am I writing you down when I get back to work?
Yeah.
Is writing you down in the book? Is that what it? I mean, we have. Is this like scheduling a meeting, Tori?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just nervous.
Is the whole team nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
We tried. We showed up that one day
I
and it got
know,
rained out,
yeah.
and now we've been chicken ever since.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear what's going to happen next week.
I'll stay accountable.
All right. Good.
What's like the biggest obstacles in your head that makes you kind of nervous? Or, I mean, is it worrying about what others think?
I
Is
don't
it-
think it's nerves with you though.
I mean, it's a little of this, a little of that.
Okay.
I'm truly, and I'm not just trying to make an excuse. I've been very, very busy. So it's just hard to find time.
I mean, it's hard to play golf when you're following Taylor Swift all over.
I was wondering if she was on tour with her or what was going
That's
on
okay.
there.
So I don't know. I've just been busy, but
What if the next ladies' night at Edgewood was Taylor Swift night?
Oh, in a heartbeat, she'd be there.
I'd have to. I'd have to. Does
Okay,
Taylor
so
Swift
no.
play golf? I feel like no.
I don't know. Good question.
I bet you she does.
You think?
Yep.
All the cool kids play golf.
Yep. Agreed. So
I'll do my best. I will commit to at least go one time.
all right, we're holding you to that one time.
One time.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we got anything else to talk about, guys? With that, if you guys haven't done so already, please head over to fargogolf.net. Check out all the 5 public golf courses in the Fargo Golf family. Book your tee times there. Check out rates. Check out any upcoming events. You can check it all out at fargogolf.net. And then also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that on YouTube, Spotify, or can they look at us on Facebook still? Is that a thing?
Yes.
That's a thing.
Yep.
Did I miss any social channels that we're plugging right now?
I don't think
We
so.
on Threads yet? Okay, next week.
All right. Well, guys, it's been an absolute treat, and look forward to it next week. So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. This is Muni Misfits.